But Naomi, it's not just about the pay. Clearly, very difficult working conditions given, I think, 47,000 vacancies currently for nursing staff across Britain.
Yeah, there's a lot of vacancies at the moment, Mark. It's so hard to continue running clinics the way that we are. I'm GP based rather than hospital based, which just means we've got a lot more that we're doing alone as well. But the hospitals are so overrun, and the lack of nurses just means that the care isn't getting, it's just not the same, and it's not fair on the nurses to have to continue to work as they are doing. At the beginning of the pandemic, nurses were celebrated, and now we seem to be downtrodden on, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and obviously the fear is that the industrial action could put patients at risk, but I gather the RCN is saying, well, look, the patients are already at risk because you're so stretched in terms of that staffing.
They are, and this is a problem, and this is what people don't see, is that we are working double hours, we are working different shifts to be able to provide good patient care, and it's how long that we've got nurses going off sick. We've got practice nurses that leave within a few weeks because they can't cope with the demand. So actually, by saying that they're going to struggle and patient care is going to be affected, we need to protect the nurses that are there as well already.
But clearly, when the RCN says it wants 17.6% as a pay rise, that's not going to be achievable, is it, given the economic circumstances at the moment? Have they miscalculated, do you think?
It's putting out there what is the worth of a nurse? What are we worth? And it's hard, Mark. It would be difficult for me to answer that appropriately, yeah. I think every nurse sitting there is a nurse myself. I would sit there and say, God, yeah, we are worth that. But we know as nurses we're going to have to fight and fight and fight to get what we deserve.
Yeah. Do you know where we are with the various discussions? I know there was a meeting with Steve Barclay, not just the nurses, but paramedics, hospital staff and others to talk about coordinated action. I mean, are you getting any indication that the government may be moving?
I've not heard anything from my side, no. Right. I've not come across anything as yet. And it might be that they'll come in last minute and say, right, OK, this is what we are willing to offer moving forward. But I think they'd have to have quite a strong focus. And we need more nurses.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Mark.
I was going to say, I mean, just to ask you personally, I mean, it's going to be a very difficult decision for all of you individually if it comes to the crunch to actually sort of go on the picket line effectively.
It's going to be hard because as nurses, we don't walk away from patients. We don't sit there and go, it's not an easy decision for nurses to say, yes, I am going to strike, because we know that patient care is there as well. And we have this battle within ourselves that we have to provide a good patient care. But if we're not well enough because we're being overworked and overstretched, how do we continue to provide that care safely? And it's the safety of the patients that's paramount.
Yeah. Have you considered leaving the service yourself?
Oh, I'm a practice nurse. Obviously, I don't work in secondary care. For me, I love my job. I've been qualified 3 years. So at the moment, no, I wouldn't see myself leaving. But it's hard. There's days that you come in and you go home and you're still having to catch up on that work at home as well. And it impacts on family life. So you kind of balance it.
Yeah, I think the estimate from the RCN is that many nurses effectively are doing 1 extra day a week unpaid work.
Yeah, the overtime is just horrendous. I mean, as we are very autonomous in primary care, we have our own lists and we can see 20, 30 patients a day and it's still not enough.
And what would you say?
We need to see more.
Yeah, what do you say to those patients now as we head up towards Christmas? You know, how do we get maybe everyone to come together on this?
Be kind. I think that's the biggest one at the moment within primary care, secondary care, community anywhere, is just be kind to nurses and everyone in the NHS, because we've gone through COVID and the support was there, then it wasn't, and then you've been told that practices aren't doing this or aren't doing that. So just look at the bigger picture as well. We are still human and we still need that support the same as other people do.